Yo, what is up, it's your boy JadeJonny back here in Perrim's Underworld with another update. I dropped the late night one, and I woke up this morning and I was still on that buzz, and then Hard Rock decided to drop in and give some more clarification. Hard Rock is a trusted source until there's a reason not to trust him. I trust him. The only timelines, that like he's ever quote unquote messed up was whenever Ganon gave, a bad timeline. So until there's a reason not to trust him, he's a verified source. So let's go ahead and see what he's got to say.
So I guess I should probably talk about it. Brian Gannon's little announcement about Chaotic coming to LA ComicCon, all that fun stuff.
So we didn't know what Comic-Con it was. I said Los Angeles because I couldn't think of another Comic-Con, but like I notoriously I forgot the notorious one that Chaotic has most frequently been at, which is San Diego Comic-Con, which is the next Comic-Con to happen. LA Comic-Con's not till September, so he's saying LA. I'm gonna assume that he's right and it's LA. The one that like Chaotic had its biggest presences at, like where the Blue Gon was given away, right, was at San Diego. So San Diego Comic Con is July 24th to 27th. Then LA Comic Con is in September. Depending on which Comic Con it is, it's either 2 months away or like 4 or 5 months away. I don't want to do math. It's too early in the morning for me to be doing basic math. But depending on which Comic-Con it is, will vary on, like, obviously when we get news. I think it is going to be LA Comic-Con, personally, not only because Hard Rock said it, but like it falls within the expected timeline that I personally had for when we'd get news. I didn't think we'd be getting news until like, early fall, early to mid fall, as like late as winter. So for me personally, it does fall within the expectations I personally had for it to be LA, over San Diego. And then we obviously have Hard Rock here saying it's going to be Los Angeles. So look at Los Angeles Comic Con, but pay attention to San Diego is what I have to say to that. Let's keep going.
Yeah, long story short, it's going to be a very exciting announcement. I don't know if
don't take him pausing as like a sign of like him just trying to think of something to say or make up. He's under NDA through Ganon. Ganon has him under an NDA, so he has to be very careful with what he says. I'll do the same thing whenever I like talk about like Alestral's, a game I used to like test for, because I have to be careful about what I say about like our communications that I previously had with that company. So you'll see me pause if I go to talk about like what I've talked about with Alestral staff members. So it's very frequent to stutter or like hesitate to say something, because even if you've already thought over what you're going to say, just because it's like you got to make sure. I thought about this, but like before this comes out of my mouth, I have one last chance to like not say it. Let me think about real quick with like a second and like figure out if this is a good to say. So don't take him pausing or hesitating as a bad sign. It is something that like people under NDAs constantly will do whenever they're trying to think about what to say.
Projection is exactly what's going to be talked about or anything like that. I just know that we're going to have a big Chaotic announcement and how everything's going to be pushed in the right direction and what to expect for the future. It's actually a what to expect kind of thing, and it's very exciting, and I hope to catch you guys in that. And yes, there will be a video about it, so don't you worry, guys. All right, you have yourselves a wonderful rest of the day.
So, basically, the part where I'm just gonna, like, focus on the rest of that was, like, it's just going to be a what to expect announcement. I think this is where we finally get the, the timeline. I think this is, like, either it's going to be the timeline or it's going to be a full, like, plan of what Ganon plans on doing. Like, a actual proper, here's when we're going to be doing our crowdfunding if we do it. I don't think he's doing crowdfunding. I have it through Dragonix, through Dragonix, we found out that like they're going to be doing like private investors, so I think that's going to be where a lot of the funding is going to come from. But I think this is where he's going to be like, hey, we're printing here, whether it's going to be in the U.S. or whatever. He's most likely printing in the U.S. I mean, it's just smart to do that. Like he's gonna be like, we're printing in the U.S. so tariffs aren't affecting it, and this is when we want to have the app out. Here's whenever we want to have like people playing the betaing the app. I think that this is going to be just a timeline announcement. But I think that that's great because it's coming directly from his mouth. If the investors are like giving him or if his partners, I wouldn't say investors, if his partners are giving him the green light to go ahead and start talking, I think this is like, the point where we're like, this isn't, October anymore. This isn't, this fall. This is, an actual timeline directly from Ganon's mouth to us that his, obviously partners would have had to approve. So I think this is great news. I think the fact that Hard Rock is giving us a definitive what to expect, I think that's awesome. And I think this is finally what we've been waiting for. We were all thinking that it was going to be next year for the 20-year announcement. Dude, we're getting it a year early. I'm super excited. I hope you guys are super excited too. If you guys are, go ahead and comment Bluegon down in the comment section down below. And I will be seeing you guys later in another chaotic video. Let's support the Perrim.